Assalamu alaikum students. Hope all of you are fine today again. Today, my dear students, I have come forward once again to take a new class on chapter number 16, Simple Machines. Students, you all have seen many different types of machines in your locality or sometimes in your homes also, or sometimes whenever you have visited many different industries or factories. So, the machines that you have seen in factories and the industries, those machines might be very big in size, but we are not going to learn about those machines that are very big in size that you have seen in industries or factories. We are going to learn about simple machines. That means those machines that we often use in our homes. For example, a machine which has only one or two parts. Okay, a machine which has only one or two parts, such machines we call it as simple machines, and we are going to learn about simple machines. This machine is used by us for what? For what purpose? It is used by us for doing our work comfortably and very easily without applying much force. But even if we do the work using these simple machines or any other machines, it helps us to do our work with a smaller force, but it does not allow us to reduce the amount of work that we have to do. Okay, a machine is something which always makes our work easier. We are able to do our work more comfortably and very easily. That is why we know that this work that we do using different machines, okay, what happens is that the work, it is calculated by the amount of force applied by the body to do the work and the distance moved by the body. For example, take a scissor. A scissor is a simple machine. We use this scissor to cut different types of things. We cut hairs, we cut clothes and many more things. So, when we do the work using a scissor, what happens? The two bars that the scissor has, okay, a scissor has, it used to show a movement, and it moves only with the force that we apply on the scissor. Okay, so at the time when it moves or by the force that is applied, the work is done. So, work can be calculated by the amount of force multiplied with the distance moved by the object. Whenever we use to unscrew a nut with our hand, what happens is that we find it quite difficult. If we want to unscrew a nut using our hands, it will be very tough for us, it will be very hard. Okay, we need to apply more force, but instead of using our hands, if we go for using a simple machine like a spanner or a nut opener, okay, then we don't have to apply much force. We are able to open the nut very easily and comfortably. Okay, that is why we often go for using machines to do our work comfortably. So, let us discuss some of the simple machines. Firstly, we have got levers. So, some of the examples of levers are given here: scissors, bottle openers and all. These are called levers. Okay, we can call these as levers. A lever is nothing but it's a simple machine in which a bar moves freely about a fixed point. In case of a scissor, you might have seen a pair of scissors has got two bars, okay, and both the two bars are fixed at a fixed point. Okay, at the time when we try to use the scissor by applying certain force, what happens? The two bars moves from a fixed point. So, it is an example of lever. Okay, it is a simple machine. The force that we apply in a lever, okay, is called the effort. The weight to be moved is called the load. Okay, levers can be of three different types depending on whether the fulcrum, load or effort is in the middle. We have learned that scissor and bottle openers, these are examples of some levers, but these levers can also be of three different types depending on the fulcrum, load and the effort that is applied on the levers. We can get here the bottle opener, okay, lemon squeezers, nut crackers and wheel blowers. These are also some of the levers. Here we find the load is always in the middle. So these are the second type of levers. The third type of lever, what happens is that the effort is always found in the middle. The forearm tweezers, tongs, spades, these are some of the third type of levers where the effort is always applied at the middle. Nextly, as another kind of simple machine is pulleys. Students, you might have seen wells in some of the places where near your house, or sometimes when you have visited some places. These wells are the place from where we fetch water under the ground. Okay. So in these wheels, in most of the wheels, you might have seen a pulley is attached at the top of the wheel, so that one can fetch water very comfortably. A pulley is nothing but it's a simple machine. It is often used in construction building sites. That means in construction of building sites, people have to lift the things from the ground to the top of the building. So at the time, if they happen to lift the materials from the ground floor to the topmost floor of the building, then it would take much time, and the labor or the worker would have to consume more time, as well as they will have to spend a large amount of force and energy. So to reduce the energy as well as to reduce the force, or to minimize the time of the work, okay, what they used to do is that they used a simple machine, what is known as pulley. They used to fix a pulley at the topmost floor of the building and attach with a bucket with a rope. They used to leave the thing at the ground floor, and the person who is at the ground floor, he will lift the materials with a rope, and then one person who is at the topmost part of the building, he will go on pulling that rope. In this way, what happens is that the workload of the worker gets minimized, and they are able to do their work with a very short time. So these pulleys are again a kind of simple machine which does not reduce the force that has to be applied, but what happens is that it helps in changing the direction in which the force has to be applied. Okay, in this way, the pulley helps us to do our work comfortably. Another type of simple machine that we often use are what we can call as incline planes. Sometimes you might have seen whenever big trucks have to be unloaded, people or the laborers who often used to unload the trucks from the loaded truck, they used to take the big sacks on their shoulders or on their heads, and they used to do the unloading. But the most easiest way to do the unloading of the materials of the truck, okay, is by using an inclined plane. So we can consider this inclined plane also as a simple machine. Okay, it is just a sloping surface which can be used by a ramp of wood which is kept inclined in this position. Suppose the one end of the ramp should be little bit higher and the other end of the ramp should be touching the ground. Okay, in this way, what happens, we can use these inclined planes to reduce the workload, okay, of the worker, and the worker won't have to use or waste any energy or force by itself. Okay, it also helps us to reduce the distance of the work that the laborer has to do. It also helps them to reduce the force, as well as it helps them to do the work very comfortably. Nextly, we have got another type of machines that is nothing but a screws. Students, if we compare these screws with a nail, then screws are quite different than the nails. If you might see you might have seen the pictures that is given on page number 94. This screws has got an inclined plane. It has got an inclined plane wrapped around it. So what is the importance of having this inclined plane wrapped around the screw? Is that if we use a nail, then we are not able to use the nail without a hammer. Until and unless we use a hammer to hit the nail on the to join the parts of a wood at the time of making a furniture, for example a chair or table and all, okay, until and unless we use a hammer to hit the nail, we will not be able to join the parts of the wood in the furniture. But when we go for using a screw, we don't require any hammer. It can be used without a hammer, okay, with our hands itself. But another importance of screw is that at the time when we want to unscrew, we are able to unscrew the screw very easily. But the nails, once it's hit on any object, it is very tough to take it out again from the joint parts of the wood. Okay, so a screw is a simple machine. It looks somewhat like a nail, but it has got an inclined plane wrapped around it. It covers much shorter distance than the screw, but screw it covers more distance than the nail. Okay, when we go for using a screw, what happens? It will take time to join the parts. We have to screw slowly with our using a screwdriver. We have to join the parts. It will take time, consume time. But what happens when we use a nail? At once, when we go for hitting the nail, it will enter. Yes or not? So it covers very short distance. The nail covers very short distance, but a screw it covers more distance. Okay, the screw thread is the inclined plane worked around a screw. The inclined plane that we see in a screw, okay, is an inclined plane which is wrapped around a screw. Talking about the wheel and the axle, this wheel and axle, such arrangement we find in vehicles, in toy cars. Sometimes we get to see in the tester or the screwdriver and all. Okay, these wheels of a vehicle have a rod attached to them. This rod is called the axle. You might have seen a rod attached in between the wheels. Okay, the rod which is attached in between the wheels of the vehicles or toy cars and all. Okay, consider these two are the tires, and in between the two tires we get one long rod. This long rod is called the axle. And if we talk about the wheel, then these are the wheels, the tires of the vehicle. Okay, so when the wheel and the axle are found in combination with each other, we can call it as wheel and axle arrangement. In case of a screwdriver, the thick handle is called the wheel, and the thin rod with a sharp edge is called the axle. You might have seen a screwdriver, it is given in the picture also. Okay, the handle of the screwdriver, which we hold it with our hand and we move the screwdriver, we turn the screwdriver around when we have to unscrew a nut or screws and all. Okay, is the handle, and the long thin rod with a sharp edge is called the axle. Okay, so what is the importance of using this wheel and axle arrangement that we find in vehicles as well as in screwdrivers? The only thing is that it helps us to rotate a very smaller distance. Okay, when we go for using a screwdriver, okay, what happens is that we need to rotate the handle to unscrew or to screw the screw. Okay, so at the time when we rotate, what happens, it helps us to cover a very short distance with a greater force. It also helps you unlatch the doors easily. You might have seen the latches that are fixed on the doors that we have in our homes and all. Okay, so the door knobs that we find in the doors, it is also one kind of wheel and axle arrangement we can call. Okay, it also helps us to unlatch the doors very comfortably. So at the time whenever we find wheel and axle arrangements in any machines, as I have given the examples of the wheel and axle arrangement in vehicles and wheel and axle arrangement in case of screwdrivers, even we can talk about the door knobs. Okay, so these are some of the simple machines which helps us to use or to cover a very smaller distance with a large force. We apply more force but very short distance. So even if we need to apply more force and cover a short distance, but we are able to do our work very comfortably and easily using such machines. Okay, so students, hope that you all have understood about the simple machines. If you have any queries or doubts, please contact me every night between 8 to 10. With this, your class gets over. Thank you. Have a nice day.